Hello everyone, welcome. My name is Aaron, and today I'm bringing you guys a PvP build. Now this all depends on what kind of PvP you're doing. Maybe you're doing the cargo treasure hunt, or maybe you're doing the hostile takeovers, or maybe you just want to be an absolute menace and just torment all the other PvPers. So in tier 2, I don't really see that many PvPers, if at all. I don't think I've ever seen any in tier 2, so I think they are all in tier 1. Typically because of all the enemy ships that you get in tier 2. They can be annoying, especially when you're trying to fight actual players as well. However, this build should help you guys out, whether it's fighting, whether it's running away. It's all ship dependent. So I'm going to show you a build on the Brigantine. However, that build can also be transferred to the snow if you are just being a menace or if you're doing hostile takeovers. However, if you need to run away like a cargo treasure hunt, you're definitely going to want the brig. So here we go. Oh, before we start, guys, make sure to look at your codex for any gear that you don't know where it comes from, and the codex will tell you everything that you need to know. As you can see, the Urban's great gun here. This drops at Blackwood if I believe I can track, and then it should take me to it. But I've already got it, and that is one of the weapons we're using, and I'm going to explain why. So let's look at managed ship here. Honestly, this is probably the best looking ship that I have. I love the white, and the skin adds a certain characteristic to it. However, it's a shame it's so squishy. But again, it is level 13, so it makes sense. And also, guys, ignore my ascensions that I have on these weapons, because I got these weapons from Grand Fort and they were already ascended. I need to change them. I will tell you what ascensions to go with. So, first of all, we're going to go with Le Pique. Le Pique? Le Pique 3. And the reason we're going for that is because of Toxic 3 here. Hits from this weapon, saps crew stamina, adds 20% damage that cannot be blocked or bracing. It's almost like Toxin was introduced in the game with Le Peste and Le Peste minions. And then we got these weapons, which is what Le Peste minions carry with them. And basically Toxin was just forgotten about. We don't have any ascensions that actually improve Toxin. It's just one of them forgotten statuses. However, it is overpowered. So we've got Toxic 3 and we've got Piercing. That means we are going to be doing damage to the weak points. But again, the modification slots, we got Sparks. Ignore that. That's what it came with. As you can see, we've got the weak point damage of 225%. So on the broadsides, again, we've got the Le Pique Freeze for the exact same reasons. Again, ignore what I've got on the Ascensions. I will tell you what to use. So on the back, we've got Urban's Great Gun. Now, if you look at Urban's Great Gun, it's got unison on, which means it fires all of the cannonballs at the same time, rather than having to tap the trigger multiple times. You only have to press it once and all them cannonballs come out. Tearing 3 increases damage by 75% when hitting sails. This is why we're using this weapon. If you are being chased and you look back and you fire these guns at them sails, you want them sails to collapse so you can get away. Also, this is going to apply to the auxiliary, because if you can get them sails down and torn, you can then blast your toxic mortar onto them. Now, as you can see, it launches putrid projectiles, releasing fumes that damage targets and drain crew stamina. Le Peste's signature artillery weapon. That's a lie, because Le Peste's weapon never stops firing. But obviously the players can't have that. However, it does fire once, and then you have to give it time to reload. However, it's got a mega range on it, a decent blast radius, and also if you have managed to tear the sails of an enemy that's maybe chasing you or is in your area, then you drop a Le Fleur on them, and then they'll just keep taking damage until they can sail out of the poison. So these are the weapons we're going with. Specifically, the Toxin cannot be blocked or braced. That is absolutely mega. And the damage is really good, especially with the piercing and the damage to weak points as well. And then we've got this one for taking down the sails, again, which is going to work hand in hand with the Lafleur auxiliary. So they are the weapons. Now let's talk about armor, sorry. We are going with Black Prince, typically because if I am low on health, I want to be able to take more hits. Now, this isn't always the best armor. It's kind of like situational. A lot of people might use Buccaneer's Oath for the damage increase and the armor rating. I would say Buccaneer's Oath is probably the better option. However, I don't have another one, sadly. So if we look for the Buccaneer's Oath here, as you can see, destroying a target confers the blood and gold status on your ship. I don't believe it's destroying a target because I'm sure every time I've used a repair kit, that's what activates it. But someone's going to have to let me know that. I can't remember it being like every time I destroy a target. I can remember it being whenever I've taken a repair kit, then this shows up as activated. But you guys let me know about that. But Buccaneer's Oath, I'd say, is the better option. So go with that if you can. Again, look in the codex if you don't know where it is. So this major furniture piece is going to change depending on what you're running and what ship you're running. So for the brig, you're going to run war drums. Why? Because it increases your armor rating and it ensures that you can basically trim for longer to enable you to get away. This is the fastest ship, so it does make sense. If you are using the snow on the other end, you want to use water tanks so you can brace as much damage as you possibly can, especially if you're doing a hostile takeover or you're just being a menace and picking on people. So the next furniture piece is going to be beam supports. Again, it adds some survivability, max hull health, and armor rating. These minor furnitures are all going to stay the same on whether you're running the snow, the battle junk, the brig, even the. I wouldn't use it on the schooner because explosive weapons are just amazing on that. But I'd say toxin weapons with a brig or a snow is ideal for two completely different reasons. And then we got the Plague Bringer's Ward, which reduces reload time of toxin weapons and increases the damage from toxic weapons. This is a no-brainer. Again, look in the codex to where you can get this. We've got the double planked hull. If you're doing Mega Fort Houston, you've probably got a heap load of these. I think I had 60 at one point. So yeah, that increases your survivability as well. And obviously you want more survivability, especially in PvP. And then we've got the long gun works. Again, Le Pique are all long guns. So we definitely want that secondary damage. And then we've got the high velocity kegs because they are all piercing weapons as well. And it's going to add even more DPS. So that is all the furniture, guys. Now we're going to go into the Ascensions, which are a bit on the harder side because there is no toxin variant of the Ascensions. However, I'm going to try to explain this as best as I can. So, I think I did try to do one of them. Yeah, so this is what I went with. So sharpened, we don't want sharpened because piercing has been top dog for a good while now. And I believe that a lot of people will use armor that protects against piercing. So you want dire piercing, okay? So as you can see here, we go down. There you go. You want that dire piercing so your piercing guns ignore 10 to 15% of the enemy's resistance. And that is going to enable you to do more damage. And it's going to enable you to do more damage to the weak points. Next, we got soul mending. Because we need even more survivability, especially if we're in a battle. We want to be able to shoot the enemy, but also get health back while we're shooting the enemy. So I would put these, not these, dire piercing and soul mending on all three of the long guns. And then for this one, the purple one, which should be on all three of the long guns as well, we are going to go with Deadly Strike. Shots have 10% of dealing increased damage from any damage to weak point bonuses, even if the shot does not hit a weak point, increases damage to weak points by 31 to 45%. Now, if you don't see many weak points on enemy ships, because honestly, I haven't done PvP in quite a long time, You could even go with winning streak here. Every successful hit increases the damage of the next shot from this weapon by 3%, up to a maximum of 21 to 36. Mission a shot resets the effects. So if you're really accurate, I would put on winning streak. Winning streak seems the better option because you don't have to rely on weak points being available. So you'll go dire piercing, you'll go soul mending, and you will go winning streak. And that is the same for all of the Lepic weapons. Next, we've got the Urban's Great Gun. So this is the one that tears the sails, and it's the one that also fires in unison. So obviously, we want... Dietarian isn't there. That's interesting. I don't even know if dietarian is a thing, but here we go. We're going to look for tearing here. Not flooding, not electric, not damage, not burning, not projectile speed, not piercing, not explosive. Okay, so there's no tearing either. So I would go on this. If we look at what it can do, tearing, unison, again, and it doesn't do much else. So we are just going to use it to tear some sails. What I would go for this one is I would go firepower. I would add damage percentage to these guns, because as you can see, the damage is 1800 per shot. So the damage is already really good. So if we can put more damage on it, that would be amazing. Now, if we look at the blues here, so we're not looking for the normal weak point because we are looking for anything tearing. Turn speed, no. You could potentially have Grace of the Winds. Hits have 6 to 9% chance to increase turn speed if you feel like you're not turning fast enough, but you should be fine in the brig. That shouldn't be an issue. You know what might be a good one? There you go. Tearing, right there. Increases damage by 26 to 37% when hitting sails. So you definitely want that. That plays into the tearing. And also what you want is what I basically just saw. Where was it? Not going to have soul mended on this one. You could have death blow, which means for targets with 25% hull health or less, hits have basically 10% chance to instantly destroy them. So this is something that you could use as well. If you want even more tearing to enable their sails to go down even quicker, just put tearing on as well. It's fully your call, but definitely play into tearing for the urbans. Now the Lafleur is blast, I believe. Damage as explosive damage. Okay, so we're going to go dire explosive for the first one. We're going to play into the dire explosive there. We're going to go amplified explosive there, you know, for obvious reasons. And then next, I think we go amplified explosive again. So when you get them sails down and you rain this thing on the enemy is going to take a mad amount of damage. And I believe dire explosive, amplified explosive is going to do you really good and is going to put out a tremendous amount of damage. However, that is everything for this build, guys. Let me know what you think down below if you're going to try it out. Maybe this is a build that you're already using. Let me know down below. Leave a like on the video if you enjoyed. Subscribe if you are new. You want to make your way back to the channel. Thanks for watching. I'll see you guys in the next one.